Randall was obviously surprised at the question. He wondered why she would be bringing this up, especially during a celebratory dinner. The Williams all got very uneasy when they heard this question. Some of them even looked a little sad. "Yes, I do. Why do you ask?" Randall replied cautiously. "I've recently spoke with a young woman in Chicago," the woman explained. "She's one of our most promising junior members. Anyway, she told me that she saw a young man named Kevin Williams who was in possession of a power pill. So I'm wondering if he's related to any of you." When the Williamses heard that, they burst out laughing. Kevin actually got his hands on a power pill? How could a like him have managed that? They all understood that a power pill was the most effective herbal med you could use to start boosting your training. While his family's laughter rang in his ears, Randall put down his wine glass on the table and replied to her in a very grave tone of voice. "Since you just arrived here, there are some things you may not be aware of. First of all, yes, Kevin is indeed related to the Williams family, but he's no longer one of us. He's become something savage, something." "Grandpa Williams is right," Laura interrupted him. "Kevin, that betrayed us all. He colluded with outsiders to misappropriate our family's funds. We threw him out of the family and now he's living off his wife's fortune. Some time ago, he even ruined his cousin's wedding. Then he brought people with him to attack us right here in our own house. He even went so far as to insult his relatives and then fight with Grandpa Williams." "I agree with Laura," one of her cousins chimed in. "How could a loser like Kevin have picked up something as valuable as a power pill?" "Are you sure your source isn't mistaken?" another one asked. The other comments were even worse, and the room was soon filled with angry accusations from all of the members of the family. The woman frowned when she heard all of them saying such horrible things about Kevin. This was the exact opposite of what Officer Emmett had told her. When she spoke with her on the phone, Officer Emmett showed nothing but admiration for Kevin, as if he were some kind of genius who inspired great loyalty in people. Randall cleared his throat a few times, signaling to his family that it was time to calm down. He really didn't like airing their dirty laundry in public, especially where Kevin was concerned. "Did you hear everything the Williamses said about Kevin?" Renee asked her. "You should remind your friend to stay away from someone like that. We're good people and we try to bring justice wherever we go. I've already told Randall that if I meet this man, I'll do away with him right then and there." "I'll definitely keep your advice in mind," she promised. But she looked a little puzzled since she'd heard two very different descriptions of Kevin. The next day, the students returned to classes at the School for the Healing Arts. Professor Murdoch walked into the classroom with an incredibly somber look on her face. For one thing, she couldn't figure out what had been wrong with her for the past few days. After she took the pill that Mike gave her, she started to feel weaker every day. Today was the fourth day and Professor Murdoch was losing focus, and physically she felt like she was just dragging. She thought about Kevin and started to feel impatient. At the Whistler Hotel, Kevin had tried to dissuade her from taking Mike's pill, but she hadn't listened. It was starting to look like she should have taken his advice. So now her only hope was that Kevin really had a way to solve her problem. But when she entered the classroom, Professor Murdoch was disappointed. Dalton Steele was back from the hospital, but where was Kevin? "Dalton, why didn't Kevin come to class?" Professor Murdoch asked him sternly. "I don't know, Professor," Dalton replied honestly. He'd just been released from the hospital the day before and hadn't been in touch with his friend. Suddenly, Mike stood up from his chair and announced, "I know where he is." Mike had been looking for a chance to get back at Kevin ever since he'd stepped on him. "How do you know that?" Professor Murdoch frowned. "It's simple. Kevin donated millions of dollars without his wife's permission. Now he's probably at home begging for her to forgive him," Mike said with a laugh. The students burst into laughter at the image. "What the hell is wrong with this guy? Does he want a beating?" Dalton thought to himself as his temper flared. He picked up one of his books and threw it at Mike. "Hey, Dalton, I wasn't talking about you," Mike complained. Even though the book had hit him hard, he didn't show a trace of anger. He took the book back to Dalton and put it down gently on his desk. Mike had asked around to learn as much as he could about his classmates. When he found out what kind of person Dalton was, he decided it was in his best interest not to get on his bad side. "Never mind," Professor Murdoch said with a little disappointment. "Okay, it's a self-study period now. You all know what you should be doing." She had thought that Mike might be right, even though what he said sounded like a joke. After all, Kevin had donated a heck of a lot of money. But what would she do if Kevin didn't come to class? If she lost any more of her strength, she'd be right back where she started without any chance of getting it back again. When Professor Murdoch got back to her office, she tried Kevin's number a few times, but she couldn't get through. What she didn't know was that at that very moment, Kevin was at Downtown General. He was pacing anxiously in the waiting area outside the operating room. Lily had been in there for hours. The hospital had flown Dr. Willow in from New York the night before to perform the surgery, but Kevin hadn't heard any news yet. "You've got to hold on, Lily," Kevin said to himself desperately. He was filled with a lot of regret as he paced back and forth. "It hasn't been easy for us. Just when we were finally going to be happy together, I might lose you. Just hold on." Kevin kept thinking about her and mumbling to himself. He didn't care what anybody thought when they saw him like this. All he cared about was Lily. Suddenly, Dr. Willow walked out of the operating room and took off her mask. She looked exhausted. "How's my wife?" Kevin nervously asked her as he put his hand on her shoulder. "Don't worry, Kevin. Lily's fine now and she's been sent to recovery. It was a difficult operation because the knife wound was very close to her heart," Dr. Willow explained as she forced a smile to comfort him. Then she added a warning. "You have to be very careful with her from now on."
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.